welcome to Fantasy Footy Fan. It's Jeff here. So, SuperCoach 2025 Team Picker is available to SuperCoach Plus subscribers. We've been waiting for this, feels like forever, but it's finally here. And so in this video, I'm going to put together my first team. Also going to do some player analysis, a bit of strategy, talk about the new flex position as well, just briefly. But go through all the players and see who's sort of worth bringing in, who's not, mid prices. Talk about actually strategy too, as far as you're going to go guns and rookies, mid price madness, or you're going to have a mix of both. Personally, I mean, it depends really on the pricing, but I think having a look through this already, I'm probably going to go a bit of a balance between all three, bit of guns, bit of mid prices, obviously some rookies, but I think we should get straight into it. Actually, just before we do go into some of these players, just a very quick summary of my season. Last season, I finished around 4K at the end of the season. I reckon I could have got into the top 1 or 2K. There was a few rounds to go, and I brought in a English instead of Sherry.
It's pronounced Sherry.
And that cost me. Couldn't get Sherry's points as captain, and dropped a few K there. But the good thing is my nephew registered for a team but did nothing, and so I used his registration, just entered a second team, because it was just there. And I put together a team to start with. I managed it for the whole year, and that team finished 26th. So I was really, really happy with that. So I got some lessons out of that, and I'll bring that into my season this year. Hopefully I can get into that top 100 again. But I guess time will tell. But getting straight into it now. So I think starting with the defenders, and I'm going to start straight away with Sam Flanders. Now, I think a lot of teams will be picking Sam Flanders, and looking sort of at his history, obviously it was the big jump last year, went up by 30 points, his average, which is amazing, averaged 119 during the home and away season. A lot of that was, he did play halfback and racked it up there, but also played in the midfield as well. So I guess the question is, well, is he going to do as well if he's playing only in the midfield? Is he going to be able to average 119 again? Because he got a lot of points when he was a defender. Looking at his scores last season, now he played 4 games where he averaged over 80% CBAs, and he averaged 122. And I would say that he will likely average be about that 80% CBAs, because he's playing exclusively in the midfield, particularly with Dan Rioli coming into the team, John Noble coming into the team. I think Flanders will be playing exclusively midfield. He'll likely get over 80% CBAs, maybe 75%, but I think he should average around that 120 mark. But I think he's got a few points upside there, so hopefully it's around the 120 to 125. Next up is Harry Sheezel, so I'm going to be selecting him. Again, there's a few things to consider there. Now, obviously, he's a gun, averaged 99 in his first year, 118 in his second year, which was last season. And again, hoping for a big year this year from Sheezel. Again, it's the same concern. He got a lot of his points, or it's perceived that he got a lot of his points as a defender. How's he going to go playing exclusively in the midfield, which is what he's touted to do next season, or this coming season? And if we have a look at his 2024 season, he played 8 games where his CBA percentage was 48 as a minimum, 48% CBA percentage and up. There was 8 games there, and he averaged 128. So I think if he's going to be playing around that, say, 60 to 80% CBAs, I think he'll be all right. He's a ball magnet. He's going to get a heap of the ball. Now, North have said that they are going to run a fair few mids through the centre there. So we're looking at, let's see, LDU, McKercher, Wardlaw, Simpkin, Parker, maybe Powell, maybe Phillips, maybe O'Sullivan. If they're all going to get a game, we'll all be running through there. But I think ultimately, at the end of the day, I reckon it'll be LDU, Sheasel, and Wardlaw will be the big three in the midfield spending most of the time, and you'll have McKercher kind of float through there as well. I'll actually get to McKercher in a moment, but those are the two I'm starting with. Now, you've got Ryan, you've got Whitfield. I think some may be starting with them. I'm not a big fan of starting with them. I think that Ryan will drop in price. I think Whitfield, I'm not overly confident in Whitfield because he had a few bad years and then did well last season. He's got the early buy as well, so I don't know if I'll be starting him. Having said that, Flanders has the early buy too, but just not keen on Whitfield. You got Zorko as well. Now, Zorko turns 36 in Feb, I think it is. So not overly keen on him, but Jack Sinclair, I am very keen on Jack Sinclair. If you have a look at the Saints, their mids, you got Steele, McRae, Philippou, Winhager, and maybe even Dow and Travalia as well, the rookie. There's enough mids there. I don't think Jack Sinclair will be going into the midfield. I think he'll be playing exclusively at halfback, and I think that'll be great for him. He's got a good early run as well. I think St Kilda play Richmond twice too. He doesn't have the early bye, so that's all speaks really well to choose Jack Sinclair. So I'm heavily considering him. May even swap out Sheasel for Sinclair, and that'll give me 60 odd K. So yeah, thinking about it. Very, very seriously thinking about Jack Sinclair. You got some who will probably go with Dan Houston. He, of course, has come over from Port to the Pies, playing exclusively at halfback, but I would say he'll be playing a very high halfback, coming up to the wing, and will also play through the midfield. He'll get a few minutes there. So will he average more than his 107 last season? There's every chance, but I'm not risking it, especially again with him having the early buy. I think with, because again, playing in there's few, I think his buy's around 3, I think it is. With Flanders, again, same thing. I could not start him, but I'm just more confident in Flanders scoring really well from the get-go, playing exclusively in the midfield. I think he has his buy in round 2, Flanders. I think it's Gold Coast and the Giants. So there won't be, or there'll be one price adjustment. But I mean, look, when you're picking Flanders or Sheasel, you're picking them knowing that you're going to have them for the whole year. They are top 6 defenders. So I'm quite confident that Flanders will be in the top 3, personally, in defence by the end of the year. Scrolling down, so you got some that might choose ones like Nick Martin, Clark. I'm not really considering them. Max Holmes is an interesting one at 533k, priced at an average of 99. There's potential there. He'll be playing through the midfield with Bailey Smith will probably play through there, and then you'll have Danger, probably Cam Guthrie, and yeah, probably a few others that'll go through there. But I think Max Holmes will play exclusively midfield, so I think he's also a good option to consider. James Sicily as well, priced at an average of 99. I think he is one definitely to consider. I think last season, they lost, I think it was Jayath and a few other key defenders, and then Sicily for most of the year had to play that one-on-one sort of man-on-man type of defender. Couldn't be that intercepting defender that he normally is. But I think this year, with Jayath being fully fit, Barras comes into the team, I think Sicily will be able to play that loose man again, that intercepting defender, and I think there's some upside there with him. Not considering Dale or Blakey. I think Stewart is an interesting one. The only thing with Stewart is that now he turns 32 in March, but we all know that he played some midfield minutes, and he played last season 8 games where his CBA percentage was 57% and higher, and he averaged 110. If he's playing exclusively in the midfield, I know you got Bailey Smith coming in now, I absolutely would consider Tom Stewart if it's confirmed he's playing exclusively mid. If he's playing any kind of halfback, then I'm not picking him at that price. I'm not going to mention every player. I'll just mention some of the ones that I'm maybe considering. Some of these players I'm flicking through, you may be considering. I'm just going to go through them if I'm not considering them. See, now with McKercher, initially I was looking out for him. I was hoping he was going to be priced a bit cheaper. But with McKercher, he definitely did get most of his points down back. And he's going to be playing more midfield time. I don't think he will be like Sheasel. I think he won't get as much CBA percentage as what, say, Sheasel and Wardlaw and LDU will get. I think he'll get a little bit less, and I don't know how much he will increase in average. Look, he could potentially push up to 100, maybe, if he's playing high CBA minutes, but yeah. I wanted to pick him, but I'm just a little unsure. I'll keep an eye out for some of these match simulations and practice matches and so forth, see where he lines up. But he's definitely one worth considering. I know a lot of you out there will be looking at picking McKercher. So going through, some may choose Jaden Short, 82. It's pretty low for him. He's normally in the 90s. And I guess with like Rioli and Baker gone from that team, if he's playing half back, he might get a fair bit of the ball. So that's one to consider. Matt Roberts is an interesting one. I think with Matt Roberts, I was hoping he was going to be a lot cheaper. But he unfortunately is not. So we're looking at 434k, 435k for him. Price at an average of 80. He's going to have to do a lot better than that. I guess the thing to consider with Matt Roberts with last season was that in the last 7 home and away games that he played, he averaged 111. So, yeah, definitely worth considering. He does have the bye in round 3, so maybe we wait just to see what his role will be like, and then maybe pick him up when he comes back after his bye. I think that could be an option. I think that's probably what I will do. I am keen on Matt Roberts, but in the finals, he didn't do very well. Not as well as what he did in the last 7 home and away games. So he's one I might just hold off on. Have a look to see if he's definitely playing that halfback role in the match sim games, practice games. And yeah, at this stage, I might just wait till after his round 3 bye. So going through the rest of these players, Harry Perryman is one some are considering. 417k, price at an average of 77. Will likely play half-back, pushing up to the wing and some minutes in the midfield. I think with Collingwood, they'll have Dacos and Degoe primarily playing in the midfield. The other third mid would have been Mitchell, but he's injured, and I actually think Ed Allen might be that third mid that might go through there if Mitchell doesn't play round 1, which I believe he won't be playing round 1, I think. I'm not 100% sure. So they've got a few that could go through there. Obviously Pendlebury and Crisp. They might even bring McCreary through there in the midfield. I know they were keen to get him some more midfield minutes. So we'll just have to wait and see. I still think he's a pretty decent option if he gets a lot more midfield time. But to have Perryman and Houston on the halfback line for Collingwood, I think they will generate quite decent scores. We saw what Dacos did when he was there at halfback the last few years. So there is potential, definitely potential there. Again, one to keep our eye on during the preseason. I think that's probably it. Weddle, and someone looking at Weddle, I'm not really keen at him. There's no one here. Of course, Callum Mills. I am going to be selecting Callum Mills as a bit of a mid-pricer, I guess. So I've got the 2 premiums and now a mid-pricer. So Callum Mills, I'm very keen on, and that's just because of what he averaged when he played that sort of midfield, inside mid-role. 2021, he averaged 112 SuperCoach points, playing 18 games, and his CBAs were 66% CBAs. So, and then the next year, 2022, he averaged 115, and his CBAs were 56%. So I actually think that Callum Mills is going to be playing in the midfield. Now, Dean Cox has said that he's going to be mixing the positions around a little bit. If Mills is put in the centre, I think he's just an absolute must at that price. 357k, priced at an average of 66. If he's playing in the midfield, he could easily average back up to that 100-point average again, so which would potentially be around 40 points upside. So that's just amazing. So the only thing with Callum Mills, of course, he does have the round 3 bye. I guess you could wait, like Matt Roberts, pick him up afterwards. I think with Callum Mills' price, I think that he'll play round 0 and round 1. And I think come round 2, his price is going to jump up quite a bit, and then it'll be too late. I mean, you could still get him, but who knows? He could be worth well over 400k, which is still pretty cheap for Callum Mills. So yeah, maybe consider that. But I think I might be starting with Mills. I just want to get him at that cheaper price. Looking through again, it's really. I reckon there's another mid-pricer that I'll be looking at here. Where is he? I'm just flicking through to see if there was anyone else. I've got so Ari Showmaker. There's been a fair bit of talk about him. Apparently he's just ripping up the track in pre-season, and there's every chance that he could be playing at half-back. Is priced at an average of 50, and he's only 270k. So if he's got that permanent sort of half-back role with that booming left foot that he's got, I think he's worth considering. The one that I am going to be selecting is Kitty Coleman. So he's also priced at an average of 50. We all know what Kitty did in 2023. In that prelim against Carlton, he got 127, and then in the grand final against Collingwood, he got 127 again, but that was looking to be a lot more than that. I think he had near or over 100 points at halftime or something like that. And I think he'll come in, and with Zorko there, I think Zorko might be slowly moved out at his age. I probably want to get Kitty in there a bit, get him taking the kick-ins as well. But priced at an average of 50, that's dirt cheap. If he's got a permanent role at halfback, I definitely would be selecting him. So he's in my team for the moment. Don't think there's anyone else I'll be selecting. I think I'll be going straight to the rookies from here. Just having a look through, see if there's anyone else considering. So Josh Sin is a very interesting one. Priced at an average of around 43, 42, 229k. There's talk of him maybe taking over Houston's role at halfback. Again, let's keep an eye on the preseason and see if he gets that role. So Toby Travalia, so he's one to consider. I'm not selecting him, but I will think about it. So Travalia was obviously picked up early on, I think the Saints' first pick in the draft last year. And he, let's see what he did in the Coats. So he averaged 100 in the Coats League last season, and could very well be there come round one. So I think he is worth considering as a rookie in your defense. I don't have him in there at the moment. I've gone a little bit cheaper in my defense. Gibcus is the other one to seriously consider. Apparently he's recovered from his injury. Was it ACL? I think it was an ACL. And he's recovered and he's back in good condition, good shape. And if he has a full preseason and lines up in round one, then I think he absolutely has to be a consideration, because he'll be a permanent position there at in defence. So I'll be looking at him. Some have gone Bo Allen. He didn't average very well in the Coats League. I'm not really thinking about him. Ben Patton could be an interesting one if he gets picked. Caleb Smith, he's one that's been spoken about a little bit. Sort of playing across defence there for Richmond. We'll again have a look and see. If he is named, then absolutely he's one to consider to put in your defence. The one who I am going to bring in is Saad El Holy. I don't know if I've pronounced that correctly, probably not. But he did quite well in the VFL last season. He was injured obviously for a few games, but in 2024 played 12 games. He averaged 99 fantasy points. So that's pretty decent. I think he will probably be one of the highest picked players. I think he was that mid-season draft pick from last year. Yeah, that's right. I don't know. Yeah, might not have had that injury. He was just mid-season pick and then played in the VFL. So yeah, I've got him in my team for now, and I think he's one that's worth looking at. Hopefully he lines up round one. James Leake is the other one. I guess with the rookies, you got to remember they are just placeholders. There's like 3 months to go before the footy starts. With James Leake, he played 8 games in the VFL last season and averaged 95 fantasy points. So if he can squeeze in and get a game at the Giants, then he'll be worth picking, I think. There's a few rookies here. Zach Reed, I think he'll definitely be getting a game for Essendon playing in defence. No doubt about that. If he's fully fit, come round one, he will be playing. And at 119k, what we got, El Hawley and Leake are also 119, 120k. Zach Reed's 120k as well. I think they're going to be great for our bench, for our defence. And the last one I want to pick is Riley Bice. So he also, I think he played, he's a mature ager, I think. He played 21 games for Werribee last year and averaged 91. So if he can get a game for Sydney and squeeze in there round one, I think he would also be great in our defence. So that's probably it for defenders. I'm actually pretty happy with that for now. You've got your 2 mid-prices, your 2 premiums, your 2 rookies, and then rookies on the bench. I think I'm okay with that. But yeah, again, 3 months to go, so this could change quite a bit. Going to the mids, it's very hard to go past not starting Bond. Guy's a freak and a gun, and a SuperCoach freak, actually, for that matter. Averaged 126.4. He's tearing up the track. There's some footage of him just looking so fit, and if he gets through a full preseason, lines up round one fully fit with a full preseason, I know you're paying premium, but you just don't want to miss that big 150 score that he'll likely get in round one kind of thing. He's a great captaincy option. You just don't have to worry. You got Bont there. You can just put the VC and the C on him and loophole, and you can just always rely on him. So it just makes me feel a lot more comfortable having Bont in my team. Last year I didn't start Bont. I think I brought him in when he dropped a bit in price, and I don't want to make that mistake. I missed out on a lot of his big scores, so I'm going to be starting Bont. The other player that I want to start now, Zach Butters, absolutely. I think if you're going to start him instead of Bont or along with Bont, of course, these top sort of 10 players or so, you can't go wrong. Butters, Lockie Neal, I think will be around the mark. Nick Dacos, who I will be putting into my team. Love Nick. I think he is going to have another ripper year. Very unlucky to miss out on the Brownlow last year to break the record with 38 votes, but Cripps had an amazing season. And I think this year he'll have another great year. Again, the strategy here, what do we do? Do you put someone else in Dacos' place because he has the round 3 bye? Do you pick him up afterwards? That paid off last season. So I started Dacos last season, and for those that didn't start him, they were able to get him in the 500s. I think it was like 570, 580 or something like that. He dropped down to. So that was a pretty good get. So I am kind of thinking maybe instead of having Dacos there, maybe a Jack Sinclair. Then I've got a defender in my midfield. I don't know. Thinking about it, but like at the end of the day, I might start Nick. It's very hard not to start Nick. So I think I'll be sticking with that. Going through again, look at these guns. I don't think I'll be going Heaney. Treloar just had an amazing season last season, came from nowhere, but that's how good of a player he is. I think Sarong, Merritt, Dunkley, I think, again, those three players, you can't go wrong starting them. I think they'll keep to their average. I think with players like Sarong, I think there's a lot more room, I think there, more upside with him being a young player. Cripper, will he get back to that 110 average? I don't think so. I won't be picking him. Again, Jack Sinclair, pick him in the midfield, likely defence. Now, Andrew Brayshaw, all the talk is that he has been in ripping Nick, tearing it up pre-season. Could he have another big year? Can he push to get to that 115 average? Same with LDU. Like, you watch LDU play when he's fully fit, in top form. There's no one like him. I love watching LDU play when he's in just ripping form. He has the potential to be a 120 plus average player. Could this be the year that he does it? I thought it was last year, and I started with him, and in the end, got to that 109 average. I held him for the whole year, and it wasn't too bad, but I just was expecting a bit more from him. Don't know about Jack Steele at 108. I don't know if I'll take the punt. He was great value last year. Sam Walsh of 583. I am at this stage selecting Sam Walsh. Look, the last couple of years, he's had no preseason, and he's come out and done well. Now, he so far has, I think, been at every single session. He looks really fit. If he has a full preseason, not one little sort of injury or issue or anything, I'm absolutely going to start him, because if he can play a full season with a full preseason behind him, who's to say that he can't go 115, 120? Again, Goulden. So he's, incidentally, just for those who might be listening and not watching, so Sam Walsh is 584k, priced at an average of 108. So I think there's definitely some room, some upside there. Same with Goulden. So Goulden is also priced around the same. And again, one that I think some might consider. Would the early buy sort of scare you off? Possibly. But yeah, I think he's one definitely to have a look at and consider. I think also you might have some go Tom Green. I think Tom Green is a very good option. I went him last year thinking that was going to be the year that he'll just get to that 115 mark, and unfortunately didn't get there. But having said that, he did have an injured game. I'm just going to have a quick look to see how he would have gone. When was that injured game? Yeah, he got a 5. That's right, in round 8. So I'm just going to take out that round and just have a quick look to see what he would have actually averaged. So he would have played 23 games. Actually, I might just take out. Yeah, no, I'll take out the finals. I think. Yeah, just the home and away. So in the home and away, so he played 21 games and he averaged 110 without that injured game. So again, a few points upside for Tom Green. Would you pick him? I would pick him if you think that he definitely can reach that 115 mark. Then absolutely go for it. But yeah, I just don't have any room to pick him in my team. Elliot Yeo was a fantastic pick last year, even Crouch too. Libba has dropped a little bit. Laird, is he going to be playing half back or through the midfield? I was hoping Christian Petrarca would have dropped quite a bit. 556k. I was hoping for him to be a little lower, priced at an average of 103. But he's still value. Again, if he has a full preseason, fully fit, who's to say he doesn't go 115? So I think he's definitely one to look at. Matt Rowell, we all remember how Matt Rowell started last year. I think he averaged in the 130s. Let's have a quick look. Let's see, from round 1. Wow. Yeah, his first few games, let's see, his first 6 games, he averaged 130. And then dropped off pretty badly. But then his last 4 games, he averaged 119. So yeah, that middle section was not very good. So he could be a tactical move, maybe pick him up after his bye in round 2, or pick him up or start him and let him get those big scores, and then maybe trade him out, or maybe he could hold. Hard to say with Rowell. Hayden Young, I think, worthy after signing that huge contract. We'll see how he goes. Priced at 546k, priced at an average of 101. Will he sort of do better than that, playing exclusively in the midfield? Yeah, I think there's a chance there. Connor Rozee, he dropped in price, priced now at 529k, priced at an average of 98. Definitely room for improvement there. He's a 110 player, and if you really feel that he could get to that, because he had some injuries, then I think he's pretty good value. Tim Taranto, yeah, hard to say with Taranto. I think he's more of an AFL fantasy player rather than a SuperCoach player. Will Day. So I think Will Day is one to seriously consider playing exclusively in the midfield if you want that sort of mid-price type value pick. 491k, a price at an average of 91. I think if he can have a full preseason and start fit, I think he's definitely a worthy option. Sam Doherty, also priced at an average of about 91. He's 488k, and we just don't know with him. He's amazing, Doc, after everything that he's been through, and then now to come back and to play another season of footy, just a champion. And wish him all the best. Hopefully he can come back fully fit, have a full preseason, a full season, playing every game, and could be good value. I think looking through, I think I'm probably now looking at a couple of mid prices. I think George Wardlaw's a good one, third year breakout. He's really jumped up in his average. I think he went up about 20 points, I think. Could he go up to that 105 average? Absolutely, I think so. If he plays full-time mid, I think he would be a good pick. But I am going to pick Clayton Oliver. And I think he'll be a popular pick. 451k, priced at an average of 84. Again, with Oliver though, similar to Walsh, Oliver needs to have a full preseason, not one little tiny distraction. No injury, no personal issues, nothing like that. Again, when we say personal issues, we do wish him all the best because he did go through some tough times, and hopefully he's sort of back on track. So let's hope if he gets a full preseason and everything goes perfectly well, I think come round one, absolutely going to have him in my team. I think he'll be a very popular pick. I mean, this is a guy that's averaging around the 120 mark. He could easily average around that amount. So I think definitely a value pick. If Jordan De Goey could have a full preseason and just have a full season, I think he could easily average 100, 105, which means he would be value, but just too risky, too many injuries. Finn Callahan in his fourth year, he's gone up gradually each year. Could he make that big jump playing exclusively in the midfield this year? Will Ashcroft is a player I want to have in my team. He's in his third year now, third year breakout, had that amazing grand final, and really came back really well after his injury. And now with a full preseason in his third year, playing exclusively in the midfield, I think he's got plenty of upside. I think he could easily go 1 to 110 average, again, if he plays full-time mid. I think even Harley Reid's an interesting one. He'll be playing full-time mid, but he's in his second year. It's an interesting one, that one. I just think at 434k, just a little bit too much, I think, for someone in their second year. So looking through, I reckon, I'll mention just a couple of players that might be of interest to you. I reckon I'm probably now going to be picking my rookies. But looking through this list, I can't see anyone for your midfield that could be a good pick. Ruben Jinbi, he's an interesting one. I think there's plans for him to play at halfback, and if he's got that exclusive halfback role, I think that's one to jump on. If I see him playing halfback in round 1 and round 2, and he's averaging over 100, I probably will jump on before the price rise, because I think there's plenty of potential for him, plenty of upside if he's playing that halfback role. James Peatling's the other one, come over to Adelaide, priced at an average of 65. He's 352k. Ruben Jinbi, what was Jinbi? He was 374k, yeah. So Peatling, 352, 353k. Yeah, price an average of 65. Again, if he's playing in the midfield, I think then, yeah, great value. He might be pushed onto a wing. Still should do better than 65. But at 352k, I mean, there's only so many of these guys you can pick. But again, one that's definitely worth considering. Archie Roberts had that, the final 4 games did really well, but at 338k, yeah, just a bit too much. I did have my eye on him, and then when I saw his price, I was like, not overly interested. So I think mids. So Isaac Cumming, I think he's probably the other one, playing at half back. Only a couple of years ago, he had 2 years averaged in the 90s. He's 287k, priced at an average of 53. I think if he definitely has that halfback role, again, he's another one like Jimby. If he has 2 games averaging over 100 before the price rise, I'll probably be bringing him in. And that's probably it, I think, for me. For my mids, it's probably no one else. I'm looking at until I start getting to my rookies. So you got Sam Lalo, and looking at him, what did he do? So he averaged 120 in the Coates League. Will he play round one? It's highly likely that he will. Again, I think another one that we'll see how he goes after his first 2 games. There's only so many rookies you can pick here. I don't think I'm going to be starting him. I am going to be starting Jagger Smith, who averaged 154. Ball magnet he is. Is he going to be playing in the midfield? Well, it's going to be tough getting in there. You got Walsh and you got Chera and you got Cripps, amongst others that'll run through there. I think he'll probably run through there as well. Probably play a bit of mid, maybe even half forward, half back. But at 194k, I think if he's playing round one, then I'll be very happy with that. I think he'll be a very popular pick. Ed Allen is another interesting one. So as I mentioned earlier, with Tom Mitchell out, if Ed Allen is starting in the midfield come round one, I reckon maybe after his bye, he'll obviously have a price rise, but maybe after his bye might be worthy of a pick. He'll be in the 200s, but if it looks like he's got a permanent midfield position, I think definitely worth it. Sid Draper, of course, will be a popular pick. He will play for Adelaide, 108 average in the Coates, and I think he will be a good pick. So I think I will pick Sid Draper, but I don't think I'll play him on my field. I might have him on the bench. There's some others I want to have on the field, bigger scorers like Levi Ashcroft. Again, he got all of his points playing in the midfield, average 152 in the Coates, and did very well in the VFL too. So I think everyone will be having Ashcroft. Hopefully he lines up, or at least we'll get to see him in round 0, see where he'll be playing. I think they'll rotate him through the midfield, but likely he'll play half forward. Either way, I think he'll score quite well. Harvey Langford is another one, 152 average in the Coates. I think one worthy of picking, and I'm really tossing up between him and now everyone calls him Josh Smiley, but there's a double L in there. It should be Smilly, but I guess that sounds a bit silly. So I guess everyone is saying Smiley. I will just go with Smiley then. So Josh Smiley's the one that I'll be picking, except I want him on my field. I'll have Draper on the bench, but he is a beast, this guy. Smiley, he's averaged 129 in the Coates, and I reckon he'll definitely be lining up round 1, and likely will play a bit of midfield. He's a big kid. He's in the sort of mould of a Paddy Cripps, and looking forward to seeing him play. Hopefully he gets a game come round 1. Again, some others, Leo Lombard, averaged 109 in the Coates League. Sheldrick, could he come back and get a permanent spot? I think we all saw how well he did a few years ago. And if he is playing at least in round 0, we'll get to see him. Xavier Lindsay, I think if he's lining up round 1 for Melbourne, has to be a serious consideration. Averaged 121 in the Coates League. I may end up choosing him over Draper. Just have to wait and see on that. See, Taj Houghton, here's another consideration, but he's recovering from an injury, and I think they said they're going to take it easy with him. I don't think he'll line up round 1. But again, he would be a forward. So at least he's a forward, a rookie to bring in when he does come in during the year. And then that's probably it, I think. I've still got 2 spots left for my midfield. I think for now, again, it's just placeholders for now. I'm just going to pick Devon Robertson just to have a little mid-forward option in my midfield. So I'll just have him there. I don't know if he'll get a game. And the same with Erasmus. I'll just have him in there as well, a midfield forward option in my midfield. Again, may get a game. Not sure. how that's going to go, and I don't think there's really anyone else that I can see or know of that would be worth looking at the rest of the rookies there. But again, with the rookies, just wait and see. Going into the rucks, so Max Gawn, yeah, I'm not a big fan of going a big Maxi. I think Max turns 33 at the end of the month. Does he have another season in him to average 124? I think they brought in Tom Campbell, I believe. Brought in Tom Campbell from St Kilda as a backup. Who knows, they might actually bring in Tom Campbell or another ruck as a bit of a backup to Gawn. Just wait and see. But I'm not starting with Gawn. I really think that he will drop in price. But the mistake I made last season, I was thinking about starting Sherry and I didn't. And I'm not making that mistake this time around. I'm going to start with him. I know he's premium, but he had his first big breakout last season and got 120 average. And he's only going to get better from here. So just to have Bont and Sherry in my team as my captain, vice captain loophole, love that. Love the thought of that. So very happy to have him. Some are going to pick Rowan Marshall. He'll be another very popular pick. So yep, that's understandable. I won't be picking him. I want someone a little cheaper. English had a huge year the previous year. Then last season, maybe he was playing with some injuries and that really dropped in price. But if he has a full preseason, he could be worth considering at 582k, price at an average of 108, considering he averaged 128 a couple of years ago. So could be a good option. Witz is getting older. Grundy, I think that's about where Grundy's going to be. Some are going Meek if you feel he's going to do better. But Tom de Koning, I think he'll be a very popular pick. He is who I am choosing. So we all know last year with de Koning, an interesting stat. So he's priced at an average of 101 and he's 547k. But out of, was it 9 games last season, he had 79% ruck time and above in 9 games last season, and in those games he averaged 119. So I think that speaks for itself. Not to mention, we all remember he had that awesome patch from rounds 11 to 17. He played round 11, 12, 13, 15, and then 17. I think he might have had to buy through there. 15, and then maybe an injured game or something. But in those 5 games that he played, he averaged 144. So I think there's enough evidence to show that if he's rucking solo without Pitternet, then I think he's an absolute must. Having said that, if he does line up round 1 and Pitnet's in the team, absolutely going to be changing him. I don't know to whom, but I will pick someone. I may have to spend up and maybe pick an English or a Marshall. We'll have to see how that goes. I think for the rookies, I'm going to be going Archer Reed. I know some will be going the 99k rook. I'm spending a little bit, and I'll explain why I've gone Archer Reed. He's a ruck forward, so I love that flexibility. West Coast, when you have a look at the fixture, they, I think we have up until is round 15, we have all the games where the teams play, what times, but I think from round 15 onwards, they don't have that information. I think it's 15. But anyway, of all the teams up until the fixtures that have been have been planned, West Coast has 11 Sunday games, and the next best is St Kilda and Melbourne, who have 7. So I want to have a West Coast player here so I can do my loophole, and I want to have Archer Reed is a potential that he could play. But yeah, pretty happy with that so far. Moving into my forward line, I'm not going to talk much about the forwards because this is very predictable, very vanilla. I think everyone's going to have the same teams. Same players. So I'm going to start with Horn Francis. I think with Horn Francis, he will continue his trajectory, and I think he'll be a very popular pick at F1. 537k, price at an average of 99. I think he'll be playing a lot more CBAs, or have a lot more CBAs, a lot more midfield, and I think he will do quite well. Rankins, there's potential there. He did quite well playing in the midfield. Luke Jackson is an interesting one. So actually going back to Horn Francis, just a little stat here. So 21 games that he played in the home and away season, and he tonned up in 9 of them. And in those 9 games where he tonned up, he averaged 120. So when he tons up big. And I think playing more midfield time, he's going to ton up a lot more than 9 games in 2025. Luke Jackson is an interesting one. I think an interesting stat here with Luke Jackson when he plays, like this is last season, when he plays with Darcy. He played, I think, 12 games with Darcy last season and averaged 84. But when he didn't play with Darcy, he averaged 106. And then there were 5 games where he rucked 80% or more time in the ruck, and he averaged 130 in those 5 games. So yes, we desperately want him to ruck exclusively. It's likely not going to happen that much. Darcy will likely be there, but an interesting stat just to remember: if Darcy's not there and Jackson is expected to ruck most of the game, then he's worthy of consideration. But let's just get straight into everyone that we're going to be choosing in our forward line. So I'm just going to really skip a lot of these players because most are not going to be picking some of these guys. So next up is Jack Macrae. We all know how good he can be when he's playing in the midfield. The big thing for me was that when he was traded, the list manager came out at the end of the trade period and said that Macrae is hungry to be one of the premier midfielders again. So St Kilda's, I think it seems like the Saints and Macrae's management spoke to each other. Likely Macrae's management said, I'll only come if you put me exclusively in the midfield. The Saints said, absolutely, we would love to have you. And that's probably why the trade went through. And when you have a look at training, the Saints training, you can see Macrae, he's playing exclusively in the midfield. So definitely worth picking and to start with. And I think he will get back, not to his high averages of 120, but I think he'll at least get to 100. Even if he can get to 100. His price is 392k and he's priced at an average of around 73. If he can get to 100, that's like 27 points upside. I think we'll be more than happy with that. So yeah, very happy with Macrae. I think moving on, of course, Bailey Smith. He'll be probably the most popular pick along with some of the rookies. The most popular pick, Bailey Smith. Not really much to say about him, playing exclusively in the midfield. 389k, priced at an average of about 72, and he will make money and score very well. The only thing with Smith is he does have the bye in round 3. So do you wait till he gets that price increase and then pick him up for about 415, 420k, or do you get him at 389 and then ride him out during the bye? That'll be the decision. So next up, I want to pick. I remember last year we were all thinking of Adams, and at 370k, price of an average of 68. Yeah, no. Moving on. Some are going with Luke Parker. That's definitely worth an option. Price at an average of 63. He's 343k. If he's playing every single game and playing at half forward, running through the midfield, absolutely worth a consideration. So I'll keep my eye on him, I think. So I think we're coming to, where is he? Philippou, Matthias Philippou. So we all know with Philippou how well he did when he played in the midfield last year or last season. He had those really good games, those last few games. He averaged quite well. I might just quickly bring him up. I just want to have a quick look to see. Sorry. Why can't I find him? Okay. Here we go. All right. So I want to have a quick look to see how he did towards the end of that year, because he did quite well. So looking at his CBAs. So yeah, he had a couple of decent scores towards the end there. His last few games, his last 4 games anyway, he averaged 94. And his CBAs were up as well. So look, it appears that he is going to be playing in the midfield, exclusively in the midfield. And I think at 313k, priced at an average of 58, I think you can't really go wrong. So I'm more than happy to have him in the side. And then, of course, I also want to have in my team, probably, again, I said Bailey Smith is going to be the most popular pick. I think this person might actually get that. And that is, if I can find him, he'll be down. Yeah, Caleb Daniel. I think everyone's going to be picking Caleb Daniel. No, don't really need to talk about him too much. I mean, he's priced at an average of 50. Price an average of 50, 269k. North are playing him exclusively at halfback. He's going to rack it up. An absolute must. Doesn't have the early buy, so absolutely, without a doubt, going for him. I think beyond that now, I'm going to start looking at the rookies. So I'm not really considering any of these players. Let's get into the sort of rookie pricing. So yeah, so we're now, so Tom Lynch, he's 183k. I know some are considering him if he has a full preseason. I know he's coming from injury, but the rest of the preseason, if the full preseason starts round 1, could be a consideration. I know the Richmond have brought in some forwards, and of course Lynch averaged really well when he was in those really good sides, but obviously he's now in a side for the kids. He's not going to get the delivery and the amount of ball into that forward line that he was getting before, but still he's priced at an average of like 40 or something like that, 40, 42. So I think he'd be one to consider. We'll have to keep an eye on his preseason. Daniel Curtin's the other one. I think he might be getting a game. 158k. He might get a permanent spot there. It's great that we can pick him up in the forward line. So pretty happy with him. As I mentioned about Taj Houghton, not going to touch him. Jack Martin's the other one. So 151k, priced at an average of 40. I think Geelong have plans to be playing him at half forward or in the forward pocket permanently. And again, one that is rookie priced. The only thing is he has the bye round 3, so you've got to consider that. Isaac Kako's another one that might be worth considering. Averaged 113 in the Coates League. So again, another rookie to consider. I mentioned Ben Padden, he could be a forward. Oliver Hannaford, I think he's one that I am going to select. So Hannaford averaged 114 in the Coates League. Will he get a game at the Giants? I may have to spend up a little bit, maybe go for a Jack Martin or something like that. And then of course my other pick will be Elijah Hewitt, and I think I'll have Hewitt on the ground, Hannaford on the bench. I think Hewitt will definitely line up in West Coast team come round one. And at 122k, yeah, great value. And I think for my last rookie, I will have, let's see if I can find him, Tom Fullerton. So Melbourne do need some forwards up there. There's every chance that they may play Fullerton as that forward ruck relief option. I think that's why they originally brought him over. So I think I'm pretty happy with that for my team. I think there's no one else that I'm going to consider. Connor Stone, if he gets a game for the Giants, might be an option. Harry Armstrong will likely play for Richmond in the forward line. Sam Davidson, again, is one that might get a game for the Doggies. So I think that's it. Now, I've got my flex option. So very quickly with flex, we know that it's a new feature for SuperCoach Classic. We have a 23rd player on the field, so 23 will score, 23 players will score, but during the regular rounds, our best 22 players will be counted for our score, and of course during the buys it's the usual top 18. There's no emergency for flex, so if your flex player gets 0, there's no emergency player that'll cover his spot. You'll just get a 0, and your top 20, your 22 players that'll score will score. But who do you pick? So there's a strategy here where, and this is the one I'm going with for now, in having a ruck. So for now, I'm actually going to be picking Matt Flynn, and that's again on the proviso that Flynn has a full preseason, comes in round 1, and is the #1 ruck. If that doesn't happen, then I'm going to mix things around a little bit. But I would love to have Flynn there and playing, because how many times have we gone through the headache of having an injured ruck for a week, and now we're having to scamper for like a replacement, but to be able to have a ruck here and to be able to just swap that ruck over, and then now if that ruck is injured, I can swap him with Archer Reed. Archer Reed can go here, who's a forward, and then I can swap my forward with, say, a Hannaford. But if Hannaford's not doing well, he's a mid forward, I can swap him with one of my mids that are doing really well. So I've got that flexibility of just bringing in whoever I want to bring in, a mid or a forward, if I can have Flynn there. Of course, alternatively, if I have a rookie there, then yes, that's going to free up 150k, and I can put that 150k somewhere else into my team. So that's sort of, I think, where we're at for now. The only other thing to speak about is the opening rounds. It's the last thing I want to mention before I go. So as I mentioned, round 2, you've got Gold Coast and the Giants. So for me, Flanders will be out. So I'm hoping one of my rookies will be able to come in. And also Hannaford, who's on my bench anyway, he won't be playing, and Leak. So I'll have 2 defenders missing. So hopefully I can cover them. But even if I don't, it's best 18, so I'm not too fussed with that. And then for round 3, that's going to be the big hit, because in round 3 you've got Sydney, you've got Brisbane, you've got Geelong, and you've got Collingwood all missing. So that means for me, I'll have Mills missing, I'll have Bice missing, I'll have Coleman missing in my defense. That's 3 missing in my defense. In my midfield, I'll have Dacos missing. I'll have Will Ashcroft, Levi Ashcroft missing. If I keep Robertson, I'll have him missing too. That's 4 in my midfield. And in my forward line, I'll just have Smith missing. So that's a big hit. So that's probably something that I'll have a look at. I may make some changes there. And then in round 4, it'll be Essendon and Hawthorn, and I'll have just El Hawley and Reed missing there and in my defence, and that's about it. So round 3 is the big one to consider. So so hopefully you've enjoyed the video. So we've been able to go through some player analysis, some options there of who to choose. It's a long way to go, 3 months pretty much. And in that time, there'll be match sims, there'll be preseason games, and there'll be a lot to unfold. We'll keep an eye out, keep a lookout at some of these training reports. Follow the podcasts that are out there, the YouTube videos, Twitter or X. There's a lot of great content that's being put out. I don't really put out that much content. I do follow a lot of content out there, and I'm very deeply grateful for all of those that really put in the effort to provide all that content that we get to benefit from. So hopefully you've gotten something out of this, and please make sure that you have a very safe holidays and a fun one too. And then I guess we'll see you all in 2025.